Alright guys, so I'm going to start up here. My name is Rich. I'm a fitness instructor, CFB Edmonton. Today we're going to be doing a general conditioning circuit. So the way I'm going to do things and structure things is we're going to do a little bit of warm-up. We are going to do a little bit of strength work. We're going to do a little bit of a dumbbell complex, which I'll get into both those later. Then, time permitting at the end, we'll do a little bit of conditioning. I don't think that will be a problem. I think we'll be able to sneak about 10 or so minutes of that in. Just kind of get the heart rate up at the very end. I'm going to quick bang through this little disclaimer we have to read at the very beginning. Well, I think so. Alright, so in response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platform, the telefitness classes tailored to CAF personnel become accessible to everyone. Participants who are not in the CAF are not CAF members, recognize and acknowledge that their age, health status, and physical fitness levels are unknown, and it's entirely up to each individual to assess their ability to participate in this class. Since it is preferable to consult your physician before beginning any exercise program, we invite all participants who are not CAF members to consult the Active Questionnaire of the Canadian Society, of Exercise Physiology and its reference document. If you experience any pain or difficulty during the exercise presented in this video, it is recommended that you stop and consult a healthcare provider. If CAF members sustain any injuries during this workout, please fill out a CF98. One thing I didn't mention before is while doing this, I'm not going to be playing any music just because ambient noise and all that stuff, plus potential copyright stuff, who knows. So you guys can feel free to play your own music. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a little bit more of a general warm-up, kind of get things going a little bit. Some nice subtle stretching. Again, during any of this warm-up stretching, we're not trying to go for a 10 out of 10 stretch. We are going for a 4, 5, even 6 out of 10 at most. Okay, so we're going to start out with one of my favorite stretches, the world's greatest stretch. I just like it because it hits a whole bunch of different areas. It's a nice little flow style stretch. You're not going to be, hanging out in a particular area for too long, but it'll just be a good general kind of getting into all those corners and that kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to start off with the right leg forward, left leg back. You're going to squeeze the glute, push the hips back just like this, and you're going to look over that forward, or in my case, my right side. Nice breath in and out in each position is generally a good way to go. Now I'm going to take my left hand, goes up in the air, and I'm going to elevate my shoulder and kind of reach up, kind of towards the ceiling, but also that way. Look for a nice stretch right through here. Then we're going to drop the hands down. You're actually going to hop that back leg towards the wall behind you, and you're just going to let your hips sink between your legs here, just slowly closer towards the floor. If you need to get an extra stretch, drop that elbow down, but I sure don't need that extra stretch, so I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to take my right hand forward, or my hand towards the instep of the leg. It's going to go up in the air, just like this, trying to stack my shoulders up on top of each other. Again, the palm facing, I guess, you guys would be a good way to go. I'm going to swing my hand around the outside of the foot. Toes are going to come up. I'm going to drop down into a nice little hamstring stretch. If this is no good for you, you can also drop your knee down to the floor and still get that hamstring stretch. All right, same thing on the other side. Squeeze the glute, push hip forward. Nice little stretch for the front of the leg. Then we're going to look over that forward leg. Just like that. Still squeezing the glute on that back leg. Head goes up in the air. Couple exhales in that position. Both hands are going to go down. We're going to hop that back leg towards the wall behind you. Then you're going to take that hand that's closest to the foot up in the air. Just like that. It comes around the outside of the foot, toes come up, shove back into that hamstring stretch. Head can be down for this one, that's just fine. Kind of helps to get into that stretch a little bit more. Good. Okay, next thing we're going to do is a little bit of a squat stretch. From here, we're going to start with the feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, and you're going to descend down into a squat. A couple of ways to hang out in this position. You can be using your elbows to push your knees back, hands together, or you can even grab on to the feet and push the knees out. If you have a little bit of a slippery floor like I do, it's not a bad idea. The main point here is we're going for a nice little stretch kind of in the groin and the adductors a little bit. Chest should be as up as possible, try not to be down here. Then from here, you're going to push up into a nice little hamstring stretch. We're going to go back down in that squat. Hamstring stretch again. And down. We're going to go one more time into that hamstring stretch. And we're going to roll out of it. I kind of came out of it quick there. You can just hang into that stretch a little bit longer if you want to. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of activation exercises for the upper back. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get, in a second, I'm going to lay down on the floor, but I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. So if I was, like I'm going to be in a moment, laying on my chest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my glutes and abs turned on. So I'm not going to arch my back a whole bunch. I really want the movement to come from my shoulder and maybe my upper back a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands out to the side. I'm going to lift them up off the floor like this. Then I'm going to bring them up to a Y shape, like YMCA, just like this right here. Then I'm going to bring them down to a W shape. And again, that would be like that right here. So shapes I'm making is like this, and like this, okay? And we're just going to do that 5 times in each position. So I'm going to get down on the floor and do that, and you guys can go ahead and do the same. So up here in my Y, then you go down for my T, lift that up, and my W. And we're going to do that 5 times each. Squeezing between the shoulder blades each time I'm lifting the hands up. Try not to get too much into the traps. I mean, the traps are definitely going to be doing their thing, but you're going to want to focus on squeezing between the shoulder blades. And again, not doing too much of this. So one more round through. Awesome. Okay, next up, I'm going to get into a push-up position, and I'm going to do a couple of scat push-ups. We're going to do 5. What that means is basically, I'm not going to be bending my elbows. I'm going to be pushing away like this. So from here, just like that, nice and slow. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread my feet as wide as I need to. I'm going to alternate tapping my shoulders. Squeeze in your butt. And just going to do 4 or 5 of those per side. Maybe my feet a little further, closer together, pardon me. I'm going to lift up my feet. Squeezing my abs. I'm not rocking from side to side. Abs are on nice and tight, your butt's on nice and tight, that's lifting up your leg. Once again, 4 or 5 of those pieces. Okay, and we're going to start the whole thing over again, go back into the world's greatest stretch. We're going to speed it up a little bit. So my left leg's back, right leg's forward, squeeze my left glute, push my hips forward, look over that forward leg. Nice exhale in that position, hand goes up. Exhale in that position. Both hands down, back leg towards the wall behind me. Elbow can go down if I want it to. Back up here. And then we're going to push back into that hamstring stretch. Same thing on the other side. Squeeze the right glute this time, push hips forward, over that forward leg. Hand goes up in the air. Back a little bit. Both hands down, back leg towards the wall behind you. Hand goes up, arm the outside of the foot, exhale, step up, and we're going to get into that squat stretch. So squat down, I'm going to speed this one up just a little bit, push the hips up into that hamstring stretch, back down on the squat, hamstring stretch, squat one more time, hamstring stretch just a little further this time, and I'm going to roll out of that. Good. Okay, so this time we do the exact same YTW I just did, but now I'm going to do it from the standing position. I'm just going to do 3 of those. So I'm going to go Y, T, W, just like that. 3 times. Squeezing between the shoulder blades, not elevating the shoulders too much. Good. Plank with a shoulder tap. Just like that. 3 times on each side, making sure I'm not rocking. I want to keep this nice and level. And now my leg lifts. Beauty. Good. So hopefully, we've kind of mobilized a little, we've done some activation. Now we're just going to kind of continue going and get the blood pumping a little bit. We are going to do 3 of each exercise, some fairly basic bodyweight exercises. If for a warm-up, 3 is like, no, that's not very many push-ups, Rich, you can do more. If 3 is a little aggressive, you can modify them. You can just say you do the push-ups from your knees, whatever you want to do. But the whole idea, we're just going to do 3 rounds of this, and we're just going to change our body position a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is 3 push-ups. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to flip over, and I'm going to do 3 sit-ups or crunches. That's fine too. Whatever you do, fires up those abs a little bit. I stand up, and I'm going to do 3 air squats, and go straight into 3 lunges per side. All right. Back at the push-ups. Sit-ups. Over into squats. Lunges. All right. So I said 3 rounds, but I'm looking at the time. I feel like I'm ready to go for my workout, so I'm warm enough. So let's stick with 2 rounds. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. Then I'm going to get into my explanation. All right, guys. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some step back lunges. I'm going to make use of a couple pieces of equipment during this class, but we're going to start out with my heavy one, which is my ruck. Okay, again, not everybody has something nice and heavy like this, super convenient. I gave you guys some examples last time. I had like an IKEA bag, one of those blue ones, filled with stuff. That thing weighed about, it wasn't crazy heavy, it was like 18 pounds or whatever, but you throw it up nice and high. We're doing some single leg stuff, specifically step back lunges today for some lower body strength. So that's a great way to, if you're the kind of person that squats, you squat 200 or 300 pounds kind of thing, you're like, I squat 200 or 300 pounds. 30, 40 pound ruck isn't very heavy. If you make single leg work, that makes life quite a bit more difficult for you. So it's a really good way to make that weight go the extra mile, make it a little bit heavier. So that's what we're going to do today. Technique pointers, we are going to do 3 sets between 6 and 12 reps. If you have something lighter, probably go for the heavier rep range. Something heavier, probably go for the lighter rep range, okay? So with my bag just on the floor right there, again, doesn't have to be a bag. If you've got some dumbbells, which we're gonna make use of later on, or if you've got like a kettlebell or something heavy, if all I have is these 2 dumbbells, obviously most of us have seen a dumbbell lunge like that right there. You can certainly make use of that. That's 30 pounds with just my 15s there. Kettlebell or something else, 1 dumbbell even held up nice and high like this. That works really well. So again, if you got like a medium to small sized dog that likes being held, probably that'll work just fine. They probably won't like that, I'm just kidding. Maybe a small child. Be creative, right? Find something that's relatively heavy, hold it up nice and high on your chest. I used my PSP bag last time. That thing is not particularly robust, but I loaded it with some clothes and some cans and whatever else was in there. That was relatively heavy. I'm quite lucky. I just stuffed a 20 kilo sandbag in my sturdy backpack, and that's what I'm going to be using for the workout, okay? So if we're using the same implement that I'm using, just a heavy bag, I'm going to ideally put it up nice and high on my chest. You can give it a bear hug, that's fine too. I just don't like the way that kind of interferes with, I got lots of straps and stuff, even though I try to tuck them in. It doesn't work quite as well in my opinion. I'm going to keep it up nice and high. The good thing about keeping it up nice and high is you have to squeeze those shoulder blades together, almost bend the bag around your upper body, so you get a little bit of upper back work in there too. And the bag will remind you if you're bowing forward too much as you get into that lunge, because you'll punch yourself in the face when those elbows come close to the knees. So it's a really good way to kind of reinforce some good technique, keeping the chest relatively upright. That's not to be said that you can't drop the chest a little bit. This kind of angle is just fine, but we don't want to have this kind of thing go on. Okay, you don't want to have contact between the elbows and the thigh. We don't want to be pushing off the thigh either. Which again, this is more of a kind of strength part of the workout, so we're going for lower reps than we'll be doing later on in the workout here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start my first set and get this thing nice and high up on the chest, relatively balanced. Obviously, if you have something awkward, you might actually have it a little off to one side to kind of keep it as balanced as possible. But whatever you got to do, I'm going to start out with 6 reps. Okay, I'm just going to do my right leg. I take a short break. Then I'm going to do the left leg. So I'm just stepping back with my left. Just like that. Good. So that's my right leg. Okay, so based on the 6 reps I just did, probably for my next set, maybe I'll go for 8, but I'll still kind of keep in that rep range. It wasn't too bad. Also, good idea not to rush through your reps. So in a couple seconds to breathe. Get this thing back up. 6 reps. All right, so because my main goal is some lower body strength for this particular section of the workout, I am going to take a good rest. If you're trying to build strength, a 30-second rest, it's not going to get you strong. It might improve your local muscular endurance, maybe help your cardio a little bit, but it's not really going to help you get strong. If you're lifting a load that's so light that you can lift it repeatedly over and over and over again, it's probably not heavy. It's probably not going to make you strong, okay? So again, I'm probably going to do a couple more reps on my next set, but I don't want to be pushing my sets so close together that I don't really get that goal of the workout, which the beginning of it here is a little bit of lower body strength work. So I can take about another minute off here, then I'm going to find that right leg a little more strength. Few more seconds here, 30 more seconds. Once again, that's probably one of the biggest problems I have. I have a lot of type A guys come. They say, hey Rich, I've been really hammering away at my strength work. I'm not getting any stronger. My squats, I've been working on it for a long time and it's stuck, well under 300 pounds, we'll say. And I ask them okay, well, how long are your rests? They're like, oh, well, I don't like to sit around. I like to be efficient when I work out. So I'm resting 45 seconds to a minute. They're like, well, that's fine. You can do some hypertrophy, work that way for sure. But in order to really get your muscles good at lifting heavy things, you have to lift heavy things. And if you, don't give yourself, or if you rest so little that you can't even think about picking up those heavy things, then it's just not really going to work very well for you. You have to give yourself adequate amounts of rest. Obviously, none of us are in the gym right now. Very few of us have a barbell setup kind of thing. So we're going to go a little bit closer to the shorter rest periods. And we're not going to be able to quite hammer the strength work quite as effectively as we would with the barbell. We can load up, 200, 300, 400 pounds, whatever. But if you're only resting 30 seconds between sets, you're not doing strength work. You probably won't get stronger unless you're a complete novice. All right, with that little explanation out of the way, a little bit of extended rest period for myself. We're going to hit that right leg again, okay? So again, I'm going to step back. This time, I'm going to go for 8 reps. Awesome. Hopefully your 8 reps went okay. Take a little bit of a breather here, and then I'm going to hit that left leg. One thing I want to kind of bring up, if we want to bias the quads a little bit, I kind of talked about bounding forward a little bit. Lots of people say you have to do your lunges totally upright. I would kind of say if you want to bias the quads a little bit, you can let your chest drop a little bit, let your knees slide forward a touch. Just do your best to try to keep, I guess you can't see it because my ruck's in the way. You can't see it. Or if you can't, you want to make sure you keep your full foot on the floor. You don't want to be tipping up into those toes too much. So that's what I would be aware of. So give you a little profile view of this right here, of the left leg. Again, I can drop the chest. I'll move the torso forward a little bit, as long as my foot stays flat on the floor. I lost count because I was talking, so I'll just go ahead and do 2 more. All right, put that down, take a little break. Take 1 minute off because my right leg has had a little bit more rest while I was doing my left leg, so it's totally fine to have the rest be a little shorter, especially when I'm doing stuff that involves the right leg and the left leg, working more or less separately. Definitely biasing the right leg when I'm stepping back, especially when I do that slight forward lean. Again, you don't want to collapse, the lean's okay. All right, so we're going to get back to the right side. I'm going to stick with 8 reps. Even though we're on our 3rd set, we still want to pay attention to that tempo, not rush through it. I think that's 8. Once again, I took gym in school. Unfortunately, math and counting is not my forte. I'm doing my best though. Take 1 minute, hit that left side. And I can tell I am working hard. Obviously, I got a little bit of sweat on. Maybe I'm a little bit out of breath, but I'm also feeling some local muscular fatigue. That's how I know I'm working on my strength a little bit. My reps are relatively low, but I am feeling my quads working, feeling my glutes working a little bit, hamstrings. I can feel that stuff doing its thing. So I know that I'm probably actually also accomplishing the goal of this very beginning part of the workout, which is a little bit of lower body strength. Try that left side. Good. All right. Well, that was a lot of work, but I am more or less done, so that's good. So we're all wrapped up with our strength component. We are going to work on a little bit of a conditioning piece now, okay? So we're gonna do a little bit of dumbbell complex. I'll show you the movements for that. I'll just be right back. I gotta grab something I forgot to bring over here for you guys. Did a little bit of arts and crafts. A little bit of arts and crafts last time. I was doing my recycling. I have 2 4-liter jugs. I fill them with milk. I fill them with water. If you have no dumbbells, these things weigh. Well, obviously it's 4 liters of milk, 4 liters of liquid, roughly 4 kilos. So we're looking at, I believe, about 10 pounds here, give or take. It's not calibrated weights, but we got to be creative. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of what you have. You can see It's not quite big enough to accommodate my whole hand, so I'm not going to quite be able to handle it like I would a dumbbell, but it's still a relatively useful tool. I mean, not everybody drinks milk, but you can get bottles of water too if you're lactose intolerant and don't like the lactose-free milk products, whatever. Again, a useful tool that should be in most people's houses. So I'm going to use dumbbells, but at the very least, you can make use of something like this. All right, so here's a little dumbbell complex. The whole point of the dumbbell complex is to hang on to these things for the entirety of the little circuit here, okay? So you want to try not to set them down, okay? So we're going to do 9 different exercises. Most of them are 10 reps each, but I'll specify how many reps we're going to do it for everything else. The first thing is going to be a standing hammer curl. So we're going to go after a bicep curl. We kind of have the palms facing up a little bit, but we are going to go with the palms in more of a neutral position. Nothing the matter with turning the palms over, getting that bicep. If you really want to get your guns ready for tank top season, whatever it is you do, feel free to get that going on. I'm going to do a hammer curl. Okay. For most of the exercises, we're going to focus on a little bit of an eccentric. We're not going to count to 10 or anything on the way down. We're just going to make sure we're not launching those weights down to the floor. We're doing a little bit of eccentric. So for the hammer curl, we're going to look just like this, doing both of them at the same time. All right. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a shoulder press. I'm going to try not to punch my ceiling. We're going to do alternating shoulder press. We're going to do 10 on each side. When we're doing this alternating shoulder press, a couple things I want you to pay attention to. As we reach that one side up to the wall, or to the ceiling, you're not going to lean over to one side. You keep the shoulders relatively square. Okay, another thing you're going to pay attention to is you want to make sure that elbow is more or less underneath the hand. When people start to get fatigued, this is the first thing that happens. Sure, we can tolerate quite a bit of load in this position here. As soon as we drop that elbow, it tends to collapse shoulder forward. If you've got a history of shoulder injury, or you're brand new to it, that could be a bad thing. So we want to try to avoid dropping those down, okay? Next thing we're going to do is a forward lunge, just 10 reps with each leg. So dumbbells are going to be just like this right here. You're going to step forward, and same thing on the other side, okay? With obviously the dumbbells in your hand. Though if that starts getting too challenging, we just blasted the quads a little bit with those step back lunges. You can feel free to set the dumbbells down, though not ideally. Okay, for these step forward lunges, a little bit more technically difficult, or more difficult to do with loads, just simply because if the dumbbells are in our hand, we throw off our balance as the weight swings forward, all that kind of thing. Just make sure you take your time with it. You don't need to rush into the bottom or anything. Make sure the knee tracks forward over top of the toes, all that stuff that I'm sure you've heard from all the other instructors. So with that forward lunge, and we're going to go with the knee doesn't need to touch the floor. We're going to go within 1 to 3 inches of the floor is fine for that lunge. Okay, next up we're going to do a bent over row. I'm going to use both of my dumbbells at the same time for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my hips back, kind of like that RDL from my last workout. I'm just going to drive those elbows up. Just like that. Back stays nice and flat. You're not rounding through the back as you do this, okay? Driving those elbows up. Next, we are going to do a step back lunge. So we just did the step back lunge with the heavy ruck there. Now we're using a lighter load, but we're going to spice it up a little bit. Dumbbells up nice and high. Step back lunge, press, stand up. Step back lunge, 1 to 3 inches off the floor, press, stand back up. We're doing 5 lunges per leg, so that is 10 reps total, 10 presses total. Okay, next up, we're going to continue to kind of hammer those legs and shoulders a little bit. Dumbbells will be in this position. Then we're going to squat and thruster. And I'll do my best to avoid hitting that light. All right. Next up, we are going to do a goblet squat, or you can just keep both dumbbells up nice and high from that same thruster position. Squat down, stand, 10 reps. Okay, next up, same things we did the other day. RDL, pushing the hips forward, nice flat back, squeeze the glutes hard at the top. Don't play around and wait around too much at the top. Once you get there, right back into the bottom of the next one, okay? Finally, from a standing position, calf raise. Just like that. All right, we're going to do 30 reps of those, and for that RDL we were just doing, we're going to do 20 reps, okay? So I'm going to give this a minute, and then we're going to get her kicked off once again. 10 curls, 10 alternating shoulder presses, 10 forward lunge each leg, bent over row for times 10 reps, 10 step back lunge with that press from that lunge position, then 10 dumbbell thrusters, 10 goblet squats or squats from the front rack position, 20 Romanian deadlifts, and 30 calf raises. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start that up in about 30 seconds. All right, guys, go ahead and grab your weights. We are going to kick it off with a hammer curl. Get a nice squeeze at the very top. That's 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to leave them up there and do my presses. 10 per side. It's 3 on each side. We're halfway. We keep those elbows from dropping down. Keep them forward. Nine more. One more, or 9 on each side. One more on each side. There we go. Good. Awesome. Good. Keeping these things in my hand. I do my forward lunge. 10 on each leg. Trying to keep that chest relatively upright. Trying to keep the weights from swinging around like that. Squeezing the shoulder blades together will definitely help keep those weights controlled, even though they're going forward and back. I'm not counting. That's got to be 8 total out of the 20. That's 10. Four more on each side. Or 4 more total, pardon me. There we go. Good. Rows. Back's nice and flat. Squeeze in between the lower aspect of the shoulder blades. All right. Press from the split. Halfway. Awesome. Well done, guys. Okay, thrusters. All right, goblet squats is next. Just using a little 15. Halfway. Last one. Pick them up. RDLs. halfway. Keep those shoulder blades pinned back a little bit. Focusing on keeping that back nice and flat. Don't try to reach a little further around your back like that. Push those hips back. Feel that stretch in the hamstrings. 3 more. All right. Last exercise. Calf raises. 30 reps. 25 left. You got a set of stairs nearby. Push these up a notch, do them on the stairs. That's fine. Balance is a little tough, but definitely manageable. 10 left. Whew. Good job, guys. And if you manage to hold on to both the dumbbells the whole time, 7 or so minutes of having the dumbbells in your hands. Not 7 minutes, sorry, a little bit less than that. But still lots of time with the weights in your hands, not letting them go. So a little bit of a grip strength challenge there. You didn't feel it in this round. You will definitely feel it on the next round. Okay, let's take about a minute or so. We're gonna do it again. Just because I'm making the suggestion that you can use these, I'm actually going to use my milk jugs for my next round. Definitely pretty hot in the basement, so I'm sweating quite a bit. I'm also working hard, but the heat's definitely getting to me for sure. So, you know, if you got to open a window like me, then open a window. The heart rate's going to start to calm down a little bit. What we're going to do before we start is just a little bit of breathing. So what I'm going to get you guys to focus on doing is you're going to take a breath. You're going to hold that breath in for a second, breathe it out for a second. You're going to stretch that breath out to 2 seconds. Breathe in for 2 seconds, hold it in for 2 seconds, breathe out for 2 seconds, hold it out for 2 seconds. You breathe in for 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, and then hold it out for 3 seconds. Just do a little bit of expanding box breathing. That's what you want to call it. So we'll start here. Breath in, hold for a second, breath out, hold out for a second. That's the first one. Now breath in for 2 seconds. Hold it in for 2 seconds. And breathe it out for 2 seconds. Hold it out for 2 seconds. Let's go 3 seconds. 2, 3. Hold it in for 3. Breathe it out for 3. Hold it out for 3. Okay, let's go for 4. All right, other than perhaps feeling a little bit out of breath, heart rate's probably come down a little bit. Just doing one cycle through of that can often drop the heart rate a little bit, get you ready to go on your next thing, kind of you're able to concentrate, especially on the form of your exercises, because your heart's not racing, anything like that. I have a hard time bringing it down. I like to use that. It's a good strategy for me personally. I give it up to a lot of my guys as well. So feel free to give that a try between rounds, kind of help you recover a little bit. All right, so we're going to start the next round. I'm going to use my trusty milk jugs for my hammer curls. Hopefully I don't spill water all over the place. Three more. All right, shoulder press with these things. See how this goes. Try to spin these around. See if that makes life a little easier for me. Oh yeah. Other than the slow leak I have in my lower quality, what is it, Lucerne jug, I'm doing pretty well. All right, what do I got next here? Forward lunge. If you're on a wood floor like me, it will get slippery. I can guarantee you're going to see me slipping in my puddle I've just created at some point. Safety first. If you need to, grab a towel, mop it up. I'm just going to move back. You guys can still hear me, right? All right, let's do that row. Milk jugs are a little lighter than my 15s I just had, but I can tempo it out a little bit. Make sure I squeeze between those shoulder blades. 10 reps will still be felt. All right, now the step back lunge with the overhead press. Is that 10 or 9? Bonus rep. All right. Okay. Ooh, I'm doing the thrusters. Milk jug thrusters. I'm trying to think of a good way to throw these up here. I'm gonna go with, you know what, I gotta flip it around. You can call me for cheating because I didn't already set them down. Whew. And now squats. I'm going to keep them both. Romanian deadlifts. I got 5 left. Really go for that stretch to the bottom. These guys keep the shoulders back, backs flat. Feel that hamstring stretch. All right, calf raises. Twenty more. Last 10. All right. Whew. Good job, guys. I'm going to clean up my mess. I'll be right back. Not just my messy space, but my sweaty face. All right, now that I've removed my slip hazard, I see that I'm a little behind schedule. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip right into my last round. I said we could do a little bit of conditioning, but we are going to axe that. And we are just going to do the next thing right away. I'm going to go back to my dumbbells. Feel free to use your milk jug or whatever it is you're using before. And I'm going to do half reps of everything. And we're going to try to rip through this as quickly as possible with good form. I don't want you to rush the dumbbell curls down or anything. We're going to go right into the thing, and we're just going to do half reps. So we're starting out with 5 curls per side. 3, 4, and 5. Alternating shoulder press. 10 total reps. I'm going to watch my light here. Awesome. Okay, forward lunge. 5 on each side. All right. Bent over row, just 5. Set back lunge with the overhead press. We're just going to do just 2 on each side. We're going to do both at the same time. Let's go for 3. What's 3, right? Dumbbell thruster, just 5. Squats next. All right, overhand deadlifts, just 10. Really getting on those hammies. Every rep, shoulder, upper back nice and tight, low back flat. Nice healthy arch in it. I haven't been counting, so we'll do 2 more. Just 15 calf raises. Whew. You know what? We got time. I felt guilty. Let's go straight into the other half. 5 curls. I'd hate to rip you guys off. Alternating shoulder press. 10 total. Miscounted again. It's okay. Always do the extra rep. Keep those shoulder blades back. Three more. Row it up. Just 5 reps. Okay, step back lunge. We had 3 on each side from last time. So let's just doing 2 on each side. 1, 2. Whew, 5 thrusters. This has got to be the hardest one. Whew. Almost forgot my goblet squats. Just 5. RDLs. Feel that hamstring stretch. Halfway. 5 more reps. All right, calf raises. Almost there. Halfway. Just 15 reps. All right, that's it. Gently put your dumbbells down. You don't want to be spiking them into your wood floor like you may at the gym. We don't actually encourage that, just to be clear. But you probably care a lot less about the blue rubberized floor than you do your home floor. So please be careful. To be clear, we do not encourage spiking the dumbbells on our gym floor. Anywhere, really, but especially in your own home. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna walk forward and back, catch my breath a little bit. Got about 8 minutes to cool down here. We don't want to drop straight down on the floor. As I do my forward back walk, then we'll get a little bit of mobility in. Low hand, high hand, squeezing between the shoulder blades. Must have done a little bit of good work on my rows because I'm pretty tight between there. Feels like that area worked. Just gonna gradually get the hands up and down just a little bit more. All right, next thing, 2 thumbs up, turn the palms over. Squeeze those elbows straight. Just like that. Trying to get a nice little stretch from the bicep here, a little bit in the front of the shoulder, a little bit in the pec potentially even. All right, now that that heart rate's come down a little bit, you know, before we lay down, we're gonna do that expanding box breath a little bit. So we're gonna do a breath for 1 second, in, hold it in for 1, breathe it out for 1, hold it out for 1, then into, or into, hold 2, out 2, hold out for 2, etc. all the way up to 4. So I'm not going to say anything, I'm actually going to do it with you guys here, so I'm just going to use my fingers, okay? So let's do it. Whew, okay, hopefully after that, heart rate's come down a little bit. Potentially able to kind of lay down on the floor without feeling dizzy or anything like that. Hopefully that didn't make you feel dizzy. Always do what I say when it comes to breathing, except for when you start to lose your faculties, then maybe take a little bit of a break. Maybe don't hold it in for quite so long. You definitely don't want to get yourself to a position where you're going to thunder in, have nobody see you in your workout area for 15-20 minutes. That wouldn't be ideal. Don't want to be hurting yourself. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to get down onto the ground. We're just going to go left leg back, right leg forward. Go with that forward leg. Left hand goes up in the air. Push that palm towards the ceiling. Reaching that shoulder up and to the side. Nice little stretch all through here. The hands down. Jump that back leg towards the wall behind you. Drop that elbow down if you need to feel a stretch. Go up to the ceiling, just like that. Stacking those shoulders. Hand comes around to the outside of the foot. Toes come up. Shove back into that hamstring stretch. Each side. Squeeze the glute, push hips forward. Over that forward leg. Hand goes up to the ceiling. Both hands down. Shift the back leg towards the wall behind you. Around, up into that hamstring stretch. All right. Next thing, just from a kneeling position, I'm just turn to the side so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to extend my spine, look up to the ceiling, Squeeze those shoulder blades down. I'm going to do the opposite here. Chin to the chest, looking between your knees. You're stretching up those lats. All right, the first position. Rounding through that back. One more time in each position. All right, from here, sink back. Drop the head between the shoulders. Go ahead and switch sides. Again, you don't have to reach to the side too far. Just reach off to one side just a little bit. Feel free to lock that hand in place with the other hand. Same thing on the other side. Nice little stretch for the lat. And the whole side of that body you're reaching away from. You go back to that all fours position. Nice neutral spine. Squeeze the abs a little bit. Reach to one side. Pause there for a second. Reach to the other side. Pause there for a second. Just 3 times on each side. All right. Okay, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left knee, bring it towards my left hand, my left foot. It's going to swing up towards my right hand. I'm going to sink my hips down to the floor. Then I'm going to look over that left shoulder. That leg that's in front. And I'm going to go from the same position. Just drop the chest down a little bit. Same thing on the other side now. Right knee to right hand, right foot swings up towards your left hand. Over that right shoulder. Nice stretch for the outside of that right hip this time. Drop the chest down. Same areas getting stretched, just slightly changing the sides. Changing the, not the side, pardon me, the angle of the stretch. Couple seconds left here. So we're going to take the right leg, put it back, left leg forward, and we're just going to lean forward. And a nice little, another stretch for the outside of the hip, but it'll definitely be slightly different than what we're just doing. Feel free to kind of get in, move around a little bit, see if you can find that tight spot. Just going to do that for a couple seconds so I don't run out of time here on you guys. Same thing on the other side. 90 degrees in the back side, 90 degrees to the front side, and the knee. Then we're going to turn, try to square the shoulders up a little bit. Probably won't feel much here, but if you bring that hand down, stretch will present itself. You don't collapse too much there either. All right, so we will call that good. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, Danielle will be on the page there. Once again, thank you guys very much for coming out and working hard. If you did, I appreciate that. I definitely did, so at the very least, I got a great workout in. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along. I definitely gave the milk jugs a try. It was a little bit more cumbersome than I thought it'd be. They're only 10 pounds, but they're wobbling a little bit on me. And other than the leaking, I thought it went fairly well, so I'm going to try to incorporate that a little bit more for those of you that don't have much. Surely you can get your hands on. It's hard to find a cheap pair of dumbbells in Edmonton right now, but it's hard to get easy to get your hands on a pair of milk jugs. So definitely, if you haven't made that for yourself, consider doing it because it can be a useful tool. Okay, once again, thanks for coming out and working hard, guys, and I will see you next time.